Yes. Okay, so welcome everybody again today. Your next presentation is going to be social media and law enforcement. We have two officers here that are very active on social media. They're going to be giving you a whole bunch of tips, tricks, and I guess ideas of what's going on social media to point you in the right direction of where to get information on social media. And again, you're going to learn that everything you do on social media is there forever. What's on social media can sync or make you when you go and apply for a new job. I'm not going to steal any more of the thunder. The two officers are PC Scott Mills and PC Roy McCann. Many of you already learned that PC Roy McCann's Twitter handle is at the Coffee Pot. That we slowly let you know that yesterday. And PC Scott Mills is at Graffiti BMX Pop. Two very unique Twitter accounts, so you can't forget those. So it's at Coffee Pop and at Graffiti BMX Pop. For the presentation, ask a lot of questions, there's a lot of words. This presentation is going to be live streamed, so it is going to be on YouTube. So if you want to know something inside the presentation, you're like, wow, that was really good. All my friends need to learn about this. You can direct them to the account later. I'll put it out on our Twitter, and you'll know where to go. I'm done stalling for time. Over to you. Thank you. It's
private, right? It's private? This is, no, it's live. Everything?
I see you guys on hand. It's not me running this thing. You guys seem to walk by me. Okay, so let me give you a background on myself. This is me and my dream. I've been in construction for 16 years. I do have 4 children, so I know a bit about social media, let's just say. I've done many units. The most time I've spent is at 14. This is a presentation. Who here hands up has seen my presentation in school? So this is going to be open up for you guys, right? But I'm going to go through it again because only a few of you. I'm going to read through some stuff because I might get started up here as well. I'm basically going to go over a few things, safety things for you guys, what not to do on social media, you know, the good, bad, the ugly, all that stuff. So I'll go through it for you. As you can see here, the coffee pot. I am addicted to coffee. I do not have a coffee with me, and I don't do it. Because I love it for you. That's just so that's why I picked that handle. I had a handle before that, so I was like, that's just and I tweet about coffee. If you go in here, you see my tweets I do. So the reason I have this photo here, it's a great photo. But this photo here was taken. I also run a camp called 60 KM. We do a run in Ottawa. Calling officers over here. And Scott leads us at the other end, and he live streams it. And that's the whole thing that he's doing right now. So this photo, Scott was there last year, and that's my social media partner. He works with the regional groups. First time I saw this photo was on Facebook. So I didn't even know the photo had been taken. The good thing about this is it's a positive photo. I love this photo. It's a fantastic photo of us doing our job. Scott's son took it. Great photo, but be cognizant of the fact that you're going to post photos or anything of your friends. You know, let them know. This is a positive interaction, so I'm okay with it being pushed up on Facebook or otherwise. But keep that in mind. You're going to post photos of your friends. I'm sure that they're okay with you. Okay? So who here is raising hand uses social media? These are some of the major sites. Who here is on more than, just with this show of hands, there's a lot of you here, more than 2 of these sites? 4? So Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube, Google+, Vine, Text Plus, Instagram, Twitter. Those are all the major ones, right? You guys are on. LinkedIn is more for business technical, so I can't see you guys being on there. But we're going to talk about some of these and some of the pitfalls and some of these sites, okay? So you saw those sites. This is all the social media sites that are on the internet. There's going to be a test on this later, so make sure you guys and that's just to show you the extent of what is out there on the internet. It's not just the movie site that shows you this site, right? So this is for you guys. This is a photo of a very first album. Serious stuff. Wow. You might come a long way, right? And the thing is, I'd say Scott and I, we use that. Scott? That's the time we were used to use, and it had green lettering on it. There was no internet. No internet. Okay, that was just a great thing, and you could save it on floppy disks. Okay, so technology in your home computer has a computer in it. Right? I'm a big advocate of computers in your bedrooms, but you guys are really not doing this, right? Okay? So that just basically shows you that there's pretty much a computer, a laptop, an iPad, or something. And now with smartphones, right? Smartphones are computers. Computers can. We have them pretty much every person. Okay, I've got 2 laptops, 2 iPads, and a phone. Okay, so they're pretty much in every room except the bedrooms. If you have a younger sibling, because you guys know better, but if you have a younger sibling, keep an eye on what they're doing. Don't let them have a computer in their room. And check what sites are on. Okay, I have a 4-year-old. She had my iPad. Well, I have iPad, yeah. But she's on it. And I asked her, I said, "How do you do it? I'm watching Justin Bieber get arrested." She got on YouTube, watched the video of him getting arrested, and she said, "I don't like Justin Bieber, he drinks and drives." Good message, right? But she did it herself, she's 4. Okay? So this one is record for me, so it popped up already. Anyone know who that is? Jack Dorsey, baby, he invented Twitter. Nobody ever gets that. Okay? Who's this? Mark Zuckerberg. Right? Then Facebook. Everybody knows that because that's better. Right? Okay, so ways that you guys use social media, right? Talking to your friends, you might follow a movie star, singer that you like, sports people, basketball, football, whatever the case may be. There's an event, you know, it has going on in school, whatever reasons, right? I've got my reasons of why I follow certain people on social media, and you guys have your reasons. Doing good things. News, and I guess the news, you know, news and media on Twitter. Not really business platforms anymore, so I follow a lot of news channels to find out what's going on with their traffic. Right? Okay, so Twitter. So I showed you a picture of Jack Dorsey. 2006 was when Twitter started. They originally made this, so instead of having, you know, these meetings, instead of going into one location and getting people from coming all over the world or wherever it may be, or a different city and wasting vast time, he decided let's build this platform where we can chat online through Twitter and have these meetings and they can brainstorm without having to be in the same room. So that's what occurred. And then they took it, that platform, took that platform and made it public. So as of January this year, 200 million Twitter are out there, and it's obviously higher than that. The 60% of tweets are put out from mobile devices. 60%, that's pretty high. Right? Who tweets from a computer? Actual computer. I don't like tweeting from a computer. I'd rather do it from my smartphone, but you can't quote a tweet, right? Computers are a thing of the past, right? Text Plus, who has that out? Okay. More so for the younger siblings, but for you guys as well. There's people that sit behind the computer, so I say hide behind the computer. Okay, and what they do all day long is look for different. They look for people that they can get into. So if you have a Text Plus, remember if you're talking to somebody on there, that person may not be the person you think they are. So if you don't really know them, chances are the photo that you see may not be them, the name that they tell you may not be them. So keep that in mind. Try not to add people to your story on Xbox. I have a story I put on my story, basically a coworker on Stephen Julie that I was 16. And she was along with him, they met through me, and she was saying, so they were talking, anyways, long story short, he was 16, he was in his 30s. So you gotta keep that in mind, so maybe she thought she was speaking to was not the person that was hiding behind. Okay, so don't talk to strangers. Okay? So Facebook, 2003, I remember my girlfriend used to send me these emails, go join me on Facebook. It's a great thing to have, right? Because you don't want to talk on the phone or meetings and Facebook. Post what you're doing, something great, but on the world, put it on there as well. But there's always the downside to that, right? If your settings aren't set high, there's 96 different settings. Okay? So you need to go in there, because you want the world to see everything that you've got on there. You have it with your friend, right? Or use your friend on Facebook. Your settings are low enough that you can preview, so I can preview, I'll preview. Okay? So if anybody else can preview, they're going to preview too. So you need to go in, I think Scott and they were showing some settings on Facebook and stuff. You have to make sure your settings are set up. Because you guys are now in the workforce, right? And when you go from here and you go to university or college, so what they do now is they do unit tests. They will check your Facebook, they will check your Instagram, whatever you're on, they will do checks. Right? If you've got stuff on there that's inappropriate, like if you're doing that college, that university, or that job. Yes. If you make it all private, it might be a little harder to do, but again, nothing's impossible, right? Nothing's impossible. You should have all your stuff private, absolutely. Okay? But remember, once you post something on Facebook and you put a picture on there, that is your picture of Facebook analytics. Remember Michael Rafferty, the Phil Torrey Stafford, that intro girl? Where was his picture from? Okay, Facebook has a right to all your photos as soon as you post these things. Okay, so you still own it, but that's what they do. So keep that in mind. Okay, so we'll go over settings and stuff for you guys, and make sure they're set high. Because you are now in a job that a lot of people would like. You work for Toronto Cruise Service, that's a big deal. Like myself, I'm 7 in the standard. I have to watch it. Okay, so keep that in mind. There's nothing where you pause before you hit, tweet or before you hit post. That's the reason why you should post on it. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. If you're under 18 and your settings aren't high, you still have everything made public, Facebook will recognize that and your photos still will be made, which is a good thing for you guys that are under 18. But go in, if you do nothing else tonight, go in and check the settings.
But to add your birthday on Facebook, you have to save it on the.
Well, it picks up on the year. My birthday, obviously it's not going to work, right? Okay, so I prefer you don't put your date of birth at all. You put your day and month, don't put the year. Only because it's one of the tools that you can use to use your ID and then not your name and date of birth. Once they access the rest of your information, they can know what you're. So the last information you put on there. Same thing with Facebook, okay? If you don't know somebody, and you really don't know who they are, but they say you have 2 mutual friends, and you now get, oh well. Again, don't go behind that photo. There's a story of a 12-year-old boy who friended a girl. She was 14. They had 4 mutual friends. Well, nobody's around there. They started talking. She got him to get in front of the camera on his laptop. Okay, he only went so far as making a short shot. Don't think anything of that. You know what? That female was a male and 25 years old. very easy to make fake accounts. So you guys, I don't want to scare you off your neck, but I want you guys to know, yes, I want you guys to know what's out there. I want you guys to know the dangers of the internet. Because you guys are on it all the time, and can be victimized very easily. So you want to keep that in mind. Okay, if somebody, I know it's cool to have a lot of friends, I know it's cool to have a lot of followers, and all that stuff. And also on Instagram, but do it where it's safe. If you don't know that person, do they really need to get into your photos? Do they really need to get into what your family and who your friends are? No. They don't. Okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so Instagram, same thing. But Instagram's another one. You have a bunch of followers. So you stories out there, and this obviously really look good. Friends on Instagram. Followers. Followers a guy. In his 30s. Why do you follow him? Why would you follow him? Thank you. But also, so if you have younger siblings that are on any of these platforms, the best thing for them to do is I say don't put a profile pic. Because that's what these creepy people are looking for. These criminals are looking for the profile pics and they can pick on. You know, if you're going to get your brother who loves hockey, put a picture, you know, of your favorite hockey star, or a hockey stick, or a puck, or a soccer ball. Whatever their sport may be or what they like to do, use that for them instead. Because if your friends know them, they know it's them. Okay, photos are a big thing. We all post them. I do it too. But if there's people hiding behind the computer and something to do for it, you guys have a job, you're going to work every day. Their job is to sit behind a computer and find the okay, so work for your younger brothers and sisters and friends. Teach them that, you know, posting your photos and making things public like that. Don't let people follow you this kind of thing. Because again, what are you posting? You're posting photos of you, your friends, your family. Now you're like strangers with your photos. How easy is it to screenshot something with a smartphone? For a reason, right? You can take a photo and save it like that. And now they can take the photo, they can use it appropriately, Photoshop it. We can make ourselves a user. At least 5 years on. But they can also go into your photos, they can use it, they can open up a fake account. Now you can put your date of birth, name, address, everything. Right? So they've got it. Back to the Facebook, which you should have mentioned. If you guys, has anyone seen the House of Brampton when they tweeted about the party? Didn't that go bad, right? So don't tweet if you're having a because we all did it. You tell my mom now. But we all did it. I had house parties. But I didn't have social media growing up. Okay? I didn't have cell phones. Okay, so my way of telling my friends was to call them. Okay, so you guys can put it on Facebook and go. Okay, when you're telling the world that your settings are global, you are telling the world that hey, I'm having a house party and my friends are home. Okay, you're gonna have the same thing that happened in Rankin. The same thing goes for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anything that you're on. Never post that you're going on vacation because you're again telling the world that hey, I'm going to break into it. There it is. Actually, leave the door locked for you, make it easier. Right? And then please don't break the door. Okay, so don't post stuff like that. 4.3 million people last year, and that includes adults. Smart move. You want to talk about your trip when you get back? Absolutely. But don't do it before. There's people out there that are way smarter than me on computers. Okay? That can get into yourself so easily. And all it takes is one post. Or you post something on Facebook, and your friends share it, but their settings are set at public. Now that person can get into your account because they left their stuff public, or you have yours public, and you don't realize it, and now they can get all your information. You have your locations on your phone, or your GPS on your phone, and you take a photo, and you put that photo on Facebook, I can get your GPS coordinates, I can get your location, I can get the market, bring the keyword, and I got to put it on Instagram. How easy is it? That's how easy it is. Okay, so if anything on your phone, make sure you keep this off. Who needs to know where you took that photo? It's a photo. Which you really want to know. Okay, for you guys, I was here. Okay, MySpace. Who's on MySpace? Anybody? Yeah. Scott and I dealt with this account years ago, back in 2006. Okay, it was a little more prevalent back then because we didn't have the Facebooks and we didn't have the Twitters and we didn't have the Instagram and that stuff. It was MySpace. Did you know that Justin Timberlake was part owner of MySpace? So when he was part owner, the accounts were back up. It's still a huge thing in the States, but it's used by gangs, right? It's not used by it's not youth gangs that go out to go to community events, right? It's youth gangs that are there, shooting people. So that's what it's used for. There's still 25 million users, but it's predominantly in the US. It's not really the same way YouTube, what can you not find on YouTube these days? What can you not see? Nothing. You name it, it's on there. So YouTube's great for posting videos. Right? If you have an account, you're posting videos. Again, be careful what you're putting out there because it's not public. Right? You put some silly video out there, something you think might be a little inappropriate, but funny at the time. Go to get that job, or you put that college application in. They find you on YouTube and they go, I don't know. So again, be cognizant of what you're putting on there too, right? And if you're posting videos, don't put your something on friends out there. That's kind of they're all the time, right? 6.5-second video you can throw on there. It's owned by Twitter, so you can link it to your Twitter account. My 8-year-old's at that. I work with Twitter. Yes, I was at a wedding. Scott emailed me. Your daughter just posted a Vine video on your Twitter account. So, what? So I went and quickly deleted it. The whole kids in the lesson, your older sister is 18, but who showed Vine? An 8-year-old shouldn't be on Vine. Okay, I don't want my kids on the internet. If I post a picture, it's my decision. I don't want them posting stuff because I know that I have some years. So if you're again, younger than you guys know better. Don't let them post videos of themselves out there. Really, once you put it on Vine, it's for the world to see. Right? We're going to keep that in mind. Pornography and stuff online. To give you an idea, a quick idea of how much stuff goes out there on the internet, think of the last 10 minutes. Not a long time. 900,000 tweets. 350,000 Facebook posts. 140,000 Instagram pics. 360 hours. And 25,000 genetics exposed What is Foursquare? Is that what you're asking? Okay, I won't tell you. It's one of those things where you can check in, and I'm not on it. So, because I said it definitely so you can check in, and I think you get like bonus points and like on there. A lot of our officers that are in transit control and are on the road, they can use this because they can let the community know because they can let where they're at, what they're doing, which is kind of cool, right? So you can see what they're doing, and that we don't just drink coffee and donuts. Drink coffee. I actually did a hashtag coffee. Maybe go hashtag and make your own up. It's right. So with Foursquare, you can check in. Good idea for you guys. I don't recommend it. That's my opinion. Nobody else has my opinion. Opinion of Trump Service is my opinion. Because you're basically telling the world where you are. With every move. Right? If you want to do that, go ahead, but I don't recommend it. Okay, so this is 8 years difference. This is enrollment badness. You see the top one there? You see the home? My mom still has a flip phone, but she's on Twitter. She has a flip phone. She tweets me every morning. And then you see here 8 years later, right? 2013, iPads, smartphones. You see a camera in that picture? Cell phone, I don't even know the camera. It looks great. Big star. Okay, so some positive sides to social media. So these ones here are just to give you examples of what's out there that's positive, right? You've got Jeff Bangham, who I used to work with, who's running our youth bureau at the time. To bring out a missing 13-year-old. We can get that out there before we're trying to find this 13-year-old. President of the United States putting out something. There's Scott Mills, right, talking about stop bullying. Then we've got our first child and youth advocacy center, which is now open, so we're talking about that. Toronto Police, whether that's positive or not, we'll be seeing. Maybe the Toronto Police are in traffic. Those are all good positive things you can find on the internet. This one I put on here because this is not something I work with. He is not on social media anywhere. It's low key. I don't even think it's a cell phone. Oh, I think that. It's a cell phone. And he was working at BHG, minding his own business. And this poor gentleman here stands didn't work very well. And it's cold, it's dressed, and he's shooting like that. So he went over to Mark and asked him to tie his shoe. Now, originally when this photo was taken, let's be honest, right? It's a great photo. It's great for it went viral. Awesome for police service. Mark use interview, the whole 9 yards, right? It's a little thing, but it's a big recommend, you know, it's very lives. The gentleman that took this photo, and I've spoken to him, Jason Cassie, great guy. He originally thought that this officer was arresting him. Right? But when he realized what he was doing, he put that tweet in. And then that's nothing, 320 slap was tested, but that's a reading. So that's a positive thing. This is one that I put out. It was a National Day of Honor, the first year we did it, May 9th, and I want to honor those that were in Afghanistan. Every day. You know, we get up, we're complaining about this, you know, looking at the graphics like God at 6 in the morning. These guys are sleeping in the trenches. They're lucky if they get fed during the heat, and they're dealing with a lot of stuff. We go, and I'm just as bad as everybody else. We go here every day, we don't think twice about it, right? So this was a big deal. And this was part of it. I went to really big things, and then I got another prescribing video. So it's a little thing, but it's a big thing, right? We lost some troops over there as well. Okay, so this tweet here, who knows who Perez Hilton is? What? Right? He's a celebrity blogger. It's kind of annoying, but he's who he is. He's got over 24 million followers. He puts this tweet out. He's in Toronto. This is when he said he's a self-declared will land from the East. So he puts this tweet out. I'm in shock. This morning night. I need police ASAP. Come to Civil Hotel. Is that anyone here stays in Toronto? There's a lot of stuff on my phone. So our communications got inundated with calls from around the world. That's what we need help. Call right from China. Okay. Well, how are we supposed to find it? Is this a good idea? Yeah. You know what? It's going to take them longer to type that than we got the And he sent more than one tweet, right? Touch how many did you put out? 6. Okay. So don't, if you need police, I know technology is the way the world these days, but don't do this. It's not good. Pick up the phone, pick up that. 917. I love the reaction I get from this app. Every time. So you guys, you're smart, you're okay, so you know Snapchat, you know now you can do live videos. Okay, great. Okay, can somebody videotape you while you were talking to them on a video? Absolutely. Whatever the case may be, they can videotape a conversation together. saying 5 seconds, 10 seconds, right? About 10 seconds, then the photo disappears. How long have you seen? Right, gone. Is it gone? Not only that, it sits on a server. The last 200 snaps that you take sits on a server. You don't open a snap, okay, it sits there. If you ever need to get a warrant, that just will sit there. I think we're gone. They have to go somewhere, right? So basically that's what it's telling you, right? Smartphone, you screen capture. So this is, you know, this one. But give me 2 seconds to screenshot that. 2 seconds. Okay? So you're going to need 4 seconds might be safe. If I send it for 4 seconds, maybe 3 seconds. Okay, so if you're hesitating about sending a picture, don't send it. Okay, this is the actual terms of agreement, you can't do that. And they'll notify you, right? Someone actually screen captures your snap, it tells them right in the app they've done that. Guess what? If you go on YouTube, it tells you how to override that. It's very easy to do. So then you will not get notified. Right? People are always ones to step ahead of these apps, so keep that in mind. So if they're smart enough to go onto the internet and say, this is how I'm override this, and then screen capture, or you guys are what you need, keep that in mind. So I'm not a big proponent of Snapchat. I can send whatever, as long as it's not a photo that's inappropriate. Because that can happen. Okay, so I'll quickly touch on cyberbullying and suicide and stuff, right? So this is the whole definition. Basically, that it's somebody who lies behind a computer. It's not like the old days when I was in school and you wrote a note down on a piece of paper. Eventually, it's the same, right? The damage it does to a person is the same as what you used in 2014, but there's a footprint now. This is 24/7, it's worldwide, right? It's out there. It's not just in one location. It's not in a corridor. It's not in a classroom. It's on the internet. It is always there. If you learn anything from today, delete does not exist. Okay? Because just because you hit delete, you think it's gone, it's never really gone. If you have somebody like Natasha over in the corner there, you can retrieve anything. Okay, so there's a couple examples of cyberbullying, blaming, harassing, outing, exclusion. I'm not going to start this. Impersonation, right? That's when you take your photos. Opening up another account happens all the time. Dated ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriend, don't show them. Photos that you show them. It's happening. Oh, I think the guy was like, yes, that's me. Not fully the way, but. Yes, she's asking if somebody can get charged if you open up an account, impersonation, criminal offense. Okay, so if you think it's funny, and you're going to post a photo of somebody and open up an account and start doing inappropriate things on that account, you can get charged. Okay, you don't want to see us at your door for that reason. Take something twice. And if you're a victim of that, absolutely, that's what you're here for. But there is a website that I'm going to show you guys if you're ever a victim of any of these things and how to deal with it. Ask them. I'm on it. On it. Okay, again, this is my opinion. Do you know what these people have in common? That's right, throw that. Okay, the worst one in this whole scenario here is these two here. These are sisters. She committed suicide because of Ask FM. Her sister killed herself because she was with her. Right? How sad is that? So they got parents carrying little kids. Okay, so this site, you know what it is, right? It's anonymous. You go on there anonymously. You can answer questions. You can post questions. You can make yourself known or make yourself anonymous. Horrible settings. It's predominantly used in the UK. There's no value to this site. Okay, so what happens is these people, right? They're all young, attractive people that have a whole life ahead of them. They posted stuff on Ask FM. You know, Josh in the middle, it was basically you have nothing to live for, you're worthless, nobody likes you, you want to go ban yourself, what do they do? Kill themselves. Well, the people hiding behind a computer, these people are hiding behind a computer for a reason, right? So keep that in mind, okay? This site, there's no guide to it. If you want to go check it out and look at it and see what I'm talking about, you know. Okay? So this is just one of the instances that I dealt with when I was working at the Toronto Police Department. You get the point here. Obviously, this is somebody that needs help. Look at the site drawing. Ask him. Okay, we got this person help. Okay, but there's the aspect I'm saying. Okay, that person got the help they needed because we intervened, but it happens all the time. Who knows who Amanda Todd is? Right? We all know who she is, and I'm just as guilty of it. We only knew who she was after she died, right? And this video went viral. This was her last cry for help, right? And she sent a photo of her bare chest to a man, and this man took that photo, and it went viral. She moved cities, she moved schools, she tried everything she could to have a new life, all because of one picture. And she couldn't get that life that she wanted. She turned to YouTube, this was her suicide video, and then I think a month later took her life. Okay? And over what? Over a photo she sent to somebody who she thought she trusted. Okay, and that photo made it all the way, a Dutch man was arrested recently. It's unbelievable. Okay, so it's worldwide. You've got to remember that. The internet is worldwide. Okay, so this is what I was telling you. And Jeff wrote this note, so I'm not bullying him, just so you know. Okay, that was my way of bullying, right? Back in the day, that's how you got rid of it. Threw it out, right? And this is yours these days, right? Okay, that's a real account, right? So this has a footprint. That's never going away. Even if, you know, the rest of the bullying sites, he's going to delete that account or delete that tweet, and it's still there. You think the retentions of this book on the video, of that tweet? Okay, there's a footprint. It is always there, even if you delete it, because it's been retweeted, so it's on someone else's account. Right? It's always there. It doesn't exist. So these, on face value, we're going to laugh. They're funny because they're not us. Okay? But we are accountable. Myself, Scott, Ritesh, Ricardo, we're all accountable. This is two firefighters that got fired. So they're in a career. This was their life. They were doing this until they retired. They took a quote from some part of the was. That was from South Park. Okay, they found out it was funny putting that out there. They lost it. Okay? Now you can Google this and find it. You don't have to be on Twitter. So you think these guys are ever going to get fired? You're a match that never looking for, right? That's unemployed. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's funny to tell us. We're held accountable as well. So if I do something like that, I can do my job. Okay? I kind of like my job.
Oh, I see. I'm there.
You guys have seen this one, right? Kind of funny. He's big. Really? The best part is your regional police response. Awesome. But come too. Okay, this fine gentleman will probably realize, hey, that was really stupid. Why did I do that? I'm going to try and get a job now because I've been fired from Mr. Liu. Right? So now I'm going to try and get a job. He's going to hire him, right? Or you get into college or university. That's on Google. That's easy to find. So this one here, not so funny. Okay? So this guy here is in Las Vegas. Thinks he's being funny for the homeless guy in the background. Thing is, with that homeless guy is somebody's father, brother, grandfather, uncle. You have no idea. You have no idea what this man's been through in his life to make him homeless on the street. Okay? And of course, at your age, I probably didn't think that way either. I think that way now, of course, because I never know what struggles people are going through. You have no idea. So by putting this picture out there and making fun of a homeless guy, not a good idea. Okay? So there's a gentleman that in 14 Division, there was a homeless guy I used to deal with. His son was a police officer. Could only do so much for his father. That was an alcoholic on the streets. So they have family. Some of them just end up there because that's their life. It is what it is. I put a saying out, if you look at my Twitter accounts on them several times, everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about behind. I think it's a fantastic saying. Because you really don't know the person beside you. You have no idea what they're going through. You don't know if I have any struggles that I'm going through. You don't know. Okay? So you have to realize that and think twice before you post something. Right? Christian here. That's great. Good luck getting a job, right? And there's this one. This one made it all the way to talk shows. So this fine young man here sent this photo. This was a text message. He sent this photo to his buddy. Read the tweet. He didn't post this himself. He sent it to his buddy. You see his dead grandmother right here? Tacky? Disrespectful? Okay, but he sent that photo to his buddy, and his buddy thought it was a good idea to put it on Twitter. This made it to talk shows. So you think, you know, he's smirking there now, I know he's smirking now, right? You thought that was kind of funny. I see what those your friends were talking to them. That's just basically some of the charges that you can be charged with if you on the internet. Okay, so you've got identity theft, that's what we're talking about, stealing somebody's identity, opening up accounts, impersonation, fraud, extortion. You can extort people through text messages, email, social media, right? Cyberbullying, cyber stalking. So if I'm like following you, so I follow you every day to school, right? You come out of your locker and there I am. Okay. I'm trying to you go to the gym, I'm behind you, you're in the cap, I'm right behind you. Stalking, right? So now I'm on the internet, you're on Facebook, oh, right behind you, I comment, right? I'm on Twitter, everything you tweet, I'm tweeting back at you. Is that still stalking? Is that cyber stalking? I email you all the time, I'm text messaging all the time. You don't see me, but oh boy, I'm there. Okay?
Does that mean you really like it?
I really like you. Okay? Yeah. Continue. See? Okay? So this is just a little tidbit of information for you guys, Education Act, right? If something occurs, even if it starts on school property but continues on the weekend, and you're not on school property, your school still has the right to discipline that person when they get back to school. Okay, so just because you're not on school property, but it's continued from there, they have the rights to do that same thing. Okay, keep that in mind. So if you guys are a victim, I hope you never are, but if you are a victim of any type of criminal act or something that's occurring on the internet, you guys can go on this website, Storify, and it's basically capturing your evidence. If we have a notebook, this would be your notebook. Okay? That you can go out there and capture the evidence and bring it to the police and say, here, this is what's occurred. Here's all the social media stuff that I found. The stalker. Okay? Storify. This is the site I was telling you about. So if you find a photo, it's called needhelpnow.ca. You find a photo of yourself on the internet and you're like, this will show you how to remove it first heading there. Let's tell you to take that photo off the internet. Okay? The whole slew of stuff that's on there, this is for you guys. Nothing to do with the adults, this is to do with you guys. Okay? They do have a thing called cybertips.ca. It's kind of like our Crime Stoppers. You can make an anonymous tip somewhere on your school. Post it. Okay, cybertips.ca. These are my positive thoughts for you guys. Awesome is like my favorite word. Okay, ask Scott when I text him or text, I'll say it all the time. Awesome. Good word, right? Awesome. Awesome. Next word is awesome. You cannot be charged for a fight. You can consent to a fight. You cannot consent to bodily harm. Here's the difference. So in that fight, say you end up with a broken nose, that person's going to get charged. You end up with stitches above your eye, that person will be charged. You consent to a fight, you can't consent to bodily harm. Make sense? So those knockout fights, yeah, they will be charged. I don't have to go on. Yes. Guys.
Yeah.
They open an account.
So use it not. We just saw all my
Okay, so he's asking basically if somebody created an account in your name and then was posting inappropriate stuff, but it's not you, it can be tracking down. Absolutely. Okay? You can absolutely do that, and we would do that, and that person would be charged. You have to report. Yes. So you're basically retweeting something else. You're grabbing the video and putting it on Twitter. But you're not in it. Well, you're talking about, so are you accountable for that? So now all of a sudden you go for a job and they look at the kind of stuff that you're posting. They will look at what you're putting on there, right? So you are held accountable for your actions and what you put on there as much as you're not in that video. So just kind of keep that in mind, right? Yes. Now you're stopping me. On Instagram, it depends how open your account is, right? If you leave your account wide open, then I can put everything. Well, you guys are smart enough to know, right? Stuff like that, if you're going to like it, you're not posting the photo, but be careful with that too, right? Well, that's a minor thing, but just think twice, right? Especially if you want to be a police officer, think twice about liking that, right? Because if they actually go into your Instagram account, maybe in your interview, it shows your Instagram account, then they would see it, right? Yes. They're actually just I know it's a British thing. You're gonna have Darla now?
All right. Thanks a lot. Big hand for Lori. We've got about 325 people in Toronto Police that use social media now, officially. So my name's Scott Mills. I'm a Toronto Police Service officer. I've been a police officer for 26 years. And my current job is working in corporate communications at the back door, the office there, the media gallery and stuff like that. And my job is social media officer, Toronto Police Service. So I'm the only full-time social media officer for Toronto Police Service, but we have all of these other people that are doing social media for communications, and we keep training more and more people to do social media all the time. We also do investigations, and that's not me per se, but we have an entire unit now that does investigations. So bottom line is, if it happens on social media, we are equipped to deal with it. And I'm looking for, I think I'm getting one youth and policing student in my office. I don't know who it is, but I am looking for somebody with some great photography skills, some great video editing skills, and some great communication skills. So if you're that person, last year how we found the youth and policing student that worked in our office was I said the same thing here. I'm looking for somebody with those skills, because they're not skills you can just readily learn. You have to have an interest in them. And a gentleman came up to me and said, hey, I have those skills. He ended up becoming the Youth and Policing Student of the Year last year. And he just had a blast. So if anybody has those skills, please let us know. Please let me know. Also, we got some really good stuff that's going to happen out of our homicide squad. And some of you guys are going to get actually assigned for the first time ever in the Youth and Policing Initiative to our Toronto Police Homicide Squad to use social media to actually solve cold cases. Really cool, okay? So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do some do's and don'ts after, because I'm gonna do it off of this video, because we're gonna actually get right into some stuff that's going on right now that we're seeing, so that nobody in here gets in any trouble, okay? So my goal here, we are all your friends. We don't want to see you guys get in trouble. We also don't want to see the reputation of the Toronto Police Service get in trouble. So when we turn this camera off, we're going to get down and dirty with some stuff going on in here, and it's not meant to embarrass you. It's meant to say, wake up, you're a Toronto Police Service officer, and what you do reflects not only yourself, but the whole organization and your future. Okay? So we're not going to do that on camera, obviously, but what I'm showing right now is this is Google Hangouts going live on air, and I've actually got the screen share on so that it shows our Toronto Police Service website. So just before I bring up the other officer to say what's going on with the cold cases, I want you to know how Toronto Police social media for communications works, and I want you to be able to jump in and use it. Okay? Can you use social media? Yes. Just realize that it doesn't matter if it's a personal account. You're probably not going to have a professional account, but some of you will have access to professional accounts. Okay, like my Yippee last year, he had access to Toronto Police Facebook and stuff like that, and he produced content on there. And you know, once you get a comfort level with our youth and policing students, you may have access to an account. But regardless of what you do on an official account that you may get access to, whatever you do on your own personal account is going to be reflective of you and the whole police service. Okay, so really, really, really keep it professional, and if you got to lock some stuff down, do it, because it's going to come back and it potentially could be a big problem for you. So essentially that's the website. I'm going to give one quick example about how things can go totally south with Yippee real fast because of communications. All right, let's say you're going on a tour or something like that. You're supposed to meet here for a bus or whatever, and all of a sudden the bus doesn't work. Or somebody missed the thing that the bus doesn't show up, and it's like, uh-oh, everybody's got to go back to their units. What's a really good way to actually know what's going on? Go check the Toronto Police website, because on our Toronto Police website, we've got this little feed right here of every cop and every civilian member that uses Twitter. And as soon as the police officer or the civilian member tweets, it goes into there. So whoever gets the official word that something's not going as planned is probably going to tweet it. Could be Ricardo, could be Lori, could be me, could be one of the people at your divisions, and they'll tweet it and they'll use the hashtag Yippee. Right? And it'll go right into this loop on the Toronto Police website, and then you'll be able to know, okay, my instructions are all wrong here. Things don't look like they're going the way they should be. Let me see what's going on. Another example is, let's say some of you guys get involved in rookie ball, and it rains. When it rains, rookie ball tends to get canceled if it rains too much, because the diamonds wash out, right? And you're supposed to be reporting directly to a baseball diamond for your job instead of your division, and all of a sudden it's raining, and you're like, where do I go? Do I go to the baseball diamond? Do I go to my division? Go on the Toronto Police website, look on the social stream, and somebody that's got official information about what's happening there might be is probably putting that out. Okay? So it's a really good way to communicate, and Twitter seems to be the way everything breaks. So let's say you're, I'm going to give you one more example. This is just reality, guys. If you're working in a police station and God forbid there's an officer that's shot and killed or killed on duty or something like that. On your own personal account, you're going to be in the midst of chaos. You agree with me there? On your own personal account, it would not be cool or prudent to say, I'm at work, there's been an officer killed at my station. You hear what I'm saying? And that goes for any other big incident, because we've got a very, very tight communication strategy for any major incidents like that. And if you go out, people will be watching you. People in media, your community members, they'll be watching you and your social media now just because you have this job, right? And if you put something out that we haven't officially verified and that's out there on your social media accounts, it's going to put us in a complete tizzy when we're trying to manage the situation. Okay? So just like Lori said, I can't stress enough, social media is very accepted here in Toronto Police Service, but it's not very accepted by every single person. And your best bet is just to ask. And think twice, and post once. Okay? Make sure it's verified, make sure that it's all good if it's something that could affect, you know, if it's going to make somebody angry that you're working with, your boss or anybody else, probably not a good idea. If it's going to make somebody else uneasy or angry that you're working with or somebody else, don't do it. If it's going to make you uneasy, don't do it. Okay? So just ask. Every YouTube video that we put up automatically goes in there as well, and there's a Facebook feed here that goes in. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to turn this over to Darla, and Darla is going to tell you what's going on with this cold case thing, and there's Darla's Twitter. So.
Thanks. Good morning. I'm really, really excited to be here and have a chance to talk to you. And the first thing that I want to do is welcome you to the Toronto Police Service family. You're all part of the family now. You're all wearing the same crest that I am. Been a police officer for 25 years, and I take a huge amount of pride in my job. And now, by virtue of you guys wearing that crest, we're all in it together. So we're really, really happy to see you, and we're thrilled. And I think you guys are going to do some really, really big things. And actually, speaking of the crest, where's the 3 young men I met this morning? 2 I see right there. Where's Jamal? Awesome. You guys are a credit to this. You're wearing a part of our uniform. I happened to run into these young men in the food court walking to work. And good on you guys, because you never know who's... I didn't look like this morning, right? No. So you never know who's around you, who's listening. You're wearing my shirt, and you did a really good job, and I'm very proud of you, and welcome. So we're really, really happy to have you here. Now, being part of the family, I sort of hope you're going to think of me as the big sister, or maybe the cool aunt, not the grandma, if you don't mind. That would be... I appreciate that. Thanks. But, and you need to be really proud of yourself, because for everybody sitting here, there's probably 25 or 30 youth that were right behind you that were battling for this job. They would kill for this job, which is a perfect segue, because I want to talk to you about homicide and cold case things. So that kind of worked out pretty good. Anyway, we're really excited because actually I'm representing Detective Sergeant Borg. He is the officer that's currently in charge of cold case, and he's not here today. And if you aren't one of the, I think we're getting 3, and we're really excited. I'm not sure who it's going to be yet. If you don't get a chance to meet or work with Detective Sergeant Borg directly, you need to find him at some point during your time here. He would love to meet you. And he is the head of the Toronto Police Service Cold Case Unit now. And he is doing some pretty amazing things. One of them, use of social media, which we're going to talk about a little bit. I won't take up a lot of your time. And the other thing he's doing is some cutting-edge technology and science and all kinds of things. So we're looking for 3 people. And I'm not sure who's, as I said, who's going to be assigned to work with us. But we were sitting around talking about it. We get to work with Scott and Lori and Ritesh a lot. And social media is the new thing. Now, we're experienced officers, which means we're a little bit older, so they taught us a lot about how to use social media, and it's turning into a really, really big thing. So we're looking for some social media savvy people that really want to dig in and do some good work, and you're going to be working with us on a couple different things, kind of canvassing our digital crime scenes, helping us with that kind of thing. And TV's kind of made everybody watch. What are the shows now? Yeah, all those things that kind of made homicides and cold cases sort of sexy and that kind of thing. But the truth is that we all don't look like that. She does, but we all don't look like those actresses. Some of us, you know. But and everything's not solved in an hour. We have some cold cases on the books that are from 1921 and on since we started keeping records. So we've got 535 on the go right now, and a lot of them are solvable with this new technology. Oops, sorry, and this is my bell for doing that here. New technology and that kind of thing. So we're looking at working on that. But the truth is, Toronto Police Service has had a dedicated team to cold case investigations as long as we've been in business, for a lack of a better word. And the focus of Toronto Cold Case is every victim matters, everybody counts. It doesn't matter whether they were killed this morning or 75 years ago. They matter, we still care, and we still work. It doesn't matter to us whether a person lived what we would call a high-risk lifestyle, whether they were, as Officer McCann mentioned earlier, a homeless person. They're human beings, they're a life, they matter. It doesn't matter if they were in the sex trade, industry, insert whatever word here. They're a victim, they're a human being, and they matter to us, and we will continue to work tirelessly until we come to some kind of resolution on that case. So what we're looking for is 3, we'd like more. We're going to start on some different areas of archiving. It's hard for some of you to believe, but we used to actually take reports by hand. Then we moved into typewriters. So now we're obviously into computers and everything is digital, but we have a lot of things in archives that we need to kind of straighten out. So we're going to start there. And the other thing that we're working on as well is a website that will recognize every victim of a cold case. So we're going to use your skills and abilities to set this web page up in a chronological order from our oldest cold case to our most current, and you'll be able to, the public will be able to go on there and navigate. They could look for a victim's name, they could look for a date that it occurred, and we're looking for some really talented, skilled youth to be able to do this website and help us make connections for people to find more information. Sometimes people know things about cases that they don't realize they know, and it doesn't twig until they see a name or a map or something like that. So we're looking for people to help us with that. And kind of our end result is we're looking for people with some skills in video, that type of thing. I don't think there's probably anybody in this room that doesn't have some kind of connection to homicide within this city. And the important thing about a homicide is it doesn't just leave that one victim. It claims a number of victims. There are people left behind. These victims belong to two parents somewhere, everywhere. They may have left children of their own, but there's people that still care. And Detective Sergeant Borick himself will tell you he still gets calls from a lady who's almost into her 90s on a weekly basis looking for some kind of answer regarding her daughter's death. So I don't think that people's pain ever goes away. I think it changes, but it never goes away. So that's going to be our focus. We're going to work on that. So we're looking for some people that can help us maybe do some new, current, updated use of music. We want to use all your skills to maybe do some Crime Stopper type videos or awareness videos for a homicide that might might be something that resonates with you. So that's what we're looking for. This website that we're showing now, that Officer Mills is showing, is YouMove. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. This is a really interesting one where it stands for United Mothers Opposing Violence Everywhere, and it's run by Miss Audette Shepard. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Anybody? Her son was a homicide victim over here in 51 Division, and you might recognize her other son is, I always say this, Jamal McGlure, the NBA basketball player. It was, yeah, familiar? Yeah, it was his half-brother that was a homicide victim, and she started this, and she works really, really, really hard at getting some awareness in that. But not every victim has an advocate like this. So the Toronto Police service cold case, Detective Sergeant Borg, he's advocating for those people that don't have one. And again, just because people don't have an advocate, or it might have happened 50 years ago, it still matters. People in the city should have a right or an expectation of being able to walk around and not be fearful, whether it's Crossfire. We had that with Jane Kriba, and that was one that was solved. That was a lot of work that went into that. But anyway, that's a little bit about what Detective Sergeant Borg does, and we're really excited to get the three, whoever they're going to be. And again, if you don't get a chance to work for him directly, find him on a lunch break or something, talk to him, he's fascinating. And stop, if you see me in the hall, stop us anytime. We'd love to talk to you, we'd love to meet you, and we're really happy to have you here, and look forward to meeting with you guys.
So I got to tell you this about Staff Sergeant Darla Tannehill. She saw how this came to fruition is we started training different officers on using social media. This account, the TPS Homicide account on Twitter, it was started by now Deputy Chief Mark Saunders when he was the head of the Homicide Squad, and Frank Skubik, who's a detective sergeant, who's a very accomplished detective sergeant, is no longer in the Homicide Squad. So at present, I'm the guy actually managing this Homicide Squad Twitter account. Brian Borg, and this is where I'm going to try and inspire you guys to help, even if you're not one of those people in there for this project. He's tweeting as Toronto Cold Case. Now, what I did, I used to do the job that Martin Douglas, the officer that did the Crime Stoppers presentation, I used to do his job before. That's when we started using social media. Brian, I always went to. He was one of the detectives when something happened. I went to him and we did YouTube videos and we put it on Crime Stoppers and we asked the public for help. And we did presentations in the schools and all that type of stuff. And in 2 years, our anonymous Crime Stoppers tips tripled from 300 a month to 1,000 a month because people started understanding how it worked, and they also understood that it could be used for prevention. Okay? So in 2 years, by using all this social media, we could really see a difference. That led to the start of the Toronto Police social media program. I really want you to understand this, though. Guys like Brian Borg cannot solve a case unless they have a witness. An anonymous tip is great to prevent something from happening. An anonymous tip is great to get an officers on the right track to try and solve a case. But they cannot solve a case unless somebody comes forward and puts their name to it and says, I saw this. They need a witness. Really, really, really tough to do. Okay? And you'll see on here that Brian Borg's got a verified Twitter account. I'm going to tell you a couple stories about how important this is. You know how hard it is for cops to contact Twitter? Twitter's kind of like the big open thing, right? For the people, everybody speak. Cops all have a reputation of kind of big brother, right? So that's two worlds colliding. Twitter called us and wanted to verify Brian Borg's account because they were seeing what was happening. Brian sat in our course and did a tweet that said, I'm going to use Twitter to solve cases. And the world started listening. He got media calls from Turkey. He got media calls from around the world. What Darla hasn't told you is that there's 539 unsolved murders in Toronto since 1921. 539. We've solved well over 80% of them. There's 539 unsolved murders. And I said to Brian when we started his account, I said, what do you want to use for your banner picture? You know what Brian did? Kind of looked down, and he goes, put Sean on. Okay? If you guys could be empowered to help, even if you're not working in this project, by sharing on any site that you can, stuff like this. This is Sean McLean on the top there. Sean McLean, does anybody know him? Jane and Finch area? Sean was waiting for a bus. Sean's a good kid. Lived with his mom. He experienced a few mental health issues. He's a bit of a loner. And somebody shot and killed him. Do you think he deserved that? Do you know why his mom thinks that somebody killed him? Because he was wearing red, and he was standing, that would make him look like a blood gang member, and he was standing in a crip or blue-colored gang area. That's one of the things that goes through his mom's mind. Okay? It's an unsolved murder. And we've got 10 more minutes, which I'm going to do some things to show you some do's and don'ts here about what won't get you in trouble. But what I'd like you to do is, how many people here have Twitter? Wow, that's about the vast majority of the room. There's 153 in here, and I'd say about 120 put your hand up that's got Twitter. How many people have Instagram? I think that we're getting about the same. How many people use Facebook? Little less, but still quite a number of hands. How many people go on YouTube? Pretty much everybody's got their hands up. All right, this is the Twitter. Everything kind of goes from Twitter. Toronto Cold Case, Brian Borg. When he tweets something out, I want you to click on the links because they're going to be important. It might be your fellow Yippie kids that are actually doing some of the tweets for Brian. Okay? But this is the type of stuff that we want to use social media for the good. And if you go Sean McLean, murder, Toronto, on Google, you'll see the top thing is, was man slain for wearing wrong color? Then the second thing is a little video shot on a little handheld camera in an office in this building, and I'm going to play it for you. It's Brian talking about Sean. And if we can all, I'm going to tweet this on the homicide account when we're done, and if we can all yikes. I got a lot of YouTube accounts. Hang on, guys. I just don't want to interrupt my stream, so I'm going to say I'm going to go on Youth and Policing, and I hope it works. There we go.
My name is Detective Sergeant Brian Borg, and I work with the Toronto Police Service Homicide in Toronto, Ontario. On Tuesday, January 22nd, 2008, at 8:34 p.m., a young 22 by the name of Sean McLean was shot north on the east side of James Street, just north of Chalk Farm Road in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He died 3 days later of a gunshot wound, murder victim of 2008. By all accounts, the young man was alone. Our investigation has determined that Sean was involved at Wilson Road when he was shot. The first person to arrive to assist him was a passing Toronto Transit Commission employee who called 911. We know that several other assistants, but then who left before the arrival of police. Most people come forward and giving assistance in solving Sean's murder.
Just because it's a little choppy with the internet there, I'm not going to play the rest, but here's what we can do, you guys, is this is using social media for the good. If you see opportunities out in your job to do this, you just hit share. You go tweet. That's on Toronto Police Twitter account. Okay? It's not the homicide one, it's Toronto Police. That's just getting the murder up. Murder of Sean McLean, plea for tips, Toronto, Canada. We'll say something like, can you help? At Toronto Cold Case. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right into the Yippie hashtag. Okay? I'm going to ask for help. Every single day, Darla and Brian and some of your team are going to be putting information like this out. Please share if you feel comfortable. Okay? Please share in any which way you can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go at Darla Tannehill. And who else is sitting in here? At T. Dots Ricky. You guys all love it now? All right. There we go. So let's see. I'm going to challenge you guys. We're going to tweet this right here. Let's make this tweet go viral. All right? Let's do it for Sean. And we've just tweeted it. Now what happens when we tweet that is if you look over here and you go, oh, we all like log. I'm trying to get back to my, looks like I've kind of locked up a little bit. If you go to the Toronto Police website where I showed you that feed, that tweet is right into that feed already, right? So it's a great way for communications. And so if you know people that don't use Twitter or Facebook, but you hear something that's been posted out there, and you know that they don't have any accounts like that, you just drive traffic to the Toronto Police website. Just say, Google the Toronto Police website, look on the social feed, and you'll be able to find everything that's said on there. So it looks like my computer has frozen up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just minimize this. That's not cool. But I want to make sure. I want to make sure for the last 5 minutes here that we are completely not on air. So thanks a lot for having us to present to you. And I'm just shutting down this.